Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session, a CISO's Playbook for Success and Cybersecurity Career. I am Renal Vikiria, and I'll be your host for the day. Before we get started, we would like to go over a few house rules. For our attendees, the session will be in listen only mode and will last for an hour, out of which the last 15 minutes will be dedicated to Q&A. Now about our speaker, Rodney Gullatte. Rodney Gullatte is a community leader, U.S. Air Force veteran, certified ethical hacker, certified chief information security officer, certified network defense architect, and has another 13 certifications. He is the CEO of Firma IT Solutions, which provides penetration testing, which is also known as pen testing for private companies that currently have internal IT cyber support or are outsourcing their IT cyber services. With a background in information technology and cybersecurity that includes the Department of Defense, retail, healthcare, casinos, utility companies, and more. Rodney has developed Firma IT solutions to bring this enterprise pen testing service to business in the Pikes Peak region and across the world. Colorado Springs is his fifth community as a military family. In the short span of 9 years, Rodney established himself in Colorado Springs as a transformational business and community leader. His latest accomplishments are becoming the first Black president of the Rotary Club of Colorado Springs 2020 to 2021, winner of Colorado Springs Business Journal Best in Business 2017 and 2023, Hashwin Cybersecurity Company, recipient of the Colorado Springs Business Journal Rising Star Class of 2018 award, winner of the 2020 Mayor's Young Leader Award in Technology and Sustainability, winner of the 2020 Front Range Power Connectors Networker of the Year, founder of the Colorado Springs Black Business Network, and the winner of Small Business Week 2019 Veteran Business Owner of the Year. He is the immediate past president and CEO of the Colorado Springs Black Chamber of Commerce and serves on the board of directors for the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC, the cultural office of the Pikes Peak region, and the National Cybersecurity Center. He is an alumni of the inaugural Colorado Springs Mayor's Civic Leaders Fellowship, Colorado Governors Fellowship Class of 2022, and Colorado Springs Leadership Institute Class of 2019. He is the most currently an honorary commander of the U.S. Air Force Academy and is one of 50 people globally to be honored as a 2023 EC Council Chief Information Security Officer Hall of Fame Award winner. So, without any further delay, I would now hand over the session to you, Rodney.
All right. Well, depending on where in the world you are, good morning, good evening. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. And it's amazing to be here on the stage talking to you all today. Thank you for having me. As you heard, my name is Rodney Gullatte, and you can read the slide. I've done a lot. I do a lot. Community is very important to me. And in addition to those things, I'm also a husband, a father, of three wonderful kids, and I love what I do, and that's what makes it so nice. I haven't worked a day in my career because I love what I do. So for those listening and those aspiring to the gold standard of the CISO, don't do it for money. All money's not good money. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, and you will study to become the best, and I guarantee you'll make money. So just focus on the excellence, focus on what you love, and you'll be fine. So let's get started with this journey. I started my journey in the IT and tech and cyber with gaming. So that's my dirty little secret. I am 44 years old and I am still an avid gamer. Right now the Call of Duty and the Mortal Kombat 1 and Fortnite with my kids, those are my favorites. But I started back with an Apple IIe PC. So those had the 5.25-inch floppies, actual floppy disks that could flop. And games like the Oregon Trail and Zork were the games that I loved. And My mother saw that I had a particular knack for the technology when it came to writing reports and making banners. Let's rewind the clock back, and you had the dot matrix printers with the rolling sheets of paper, and you had to make those long banners. Uh, and if you messed up, you had to reprint the whole banner again. So I was just really good at all that stuff, and so she invested in some computers for us. And I remember when we got the compact Presario 954 that came with MS-DOS 6.22. She wouldn't let me mess with it until I read that book, the MS-DOS 6.22 book. So it was about that thick. I'm sure some of y'all have been in the game for a while. You remember this book. So I read it and just started, working on the commands and breaking the computer and figuring out how to reverse what I did and just keep going deeper and reverse back out. And I just loved it. I'm also a creative. I was a dancer for a while at Spelman College in Atlanta at their children's dance theater. Miss Marvette Baldwin, shout out to her. The Alvin Ailey Dance Company, I had a chance to dance with them in 1992 at the Black Arts Festival in Atlanta, so that was a big honor. I was also a youth minister of music, so play a lot of instruments, piano, organ, keyboard, sax, trumpet, drums, read, write, play by ear. After focusing on my career in IT and cybersecurity, I still use a lot of that musical ability in the things that I do. So I still sing. I sing the national anthem and stuff out here, and sing a lot in my Rotary Club. So I still sing a lot. And playing the piano is like riding a bike, so I still love doing that. So in 1992 was a pivotal moment for me. So I was 12 years old in 1992. So I'm really good at music, and I love this computer stuff. So I get on the internet and I look up how much people get paid that know this computer stuff. And I really liked what I saw as a 12-year-old. So at that point in time, at 12, I decided that this was going to be my career. There was a risk going into music. Uh, Sometimes people are broke musicians before they make it big. And while I may have had some connections in the music industry, I chose to go into the tech field. So from then on, I just started studying intentionally, started finding ways to integrate the technology that I was learning with music. So, a Roland XP80 was the keyboard that I purchased and learned how to sequence. And there were programs like Music Time 16-bit programs. Remember those? Where I could play music on my keyboard and it would write the notes on the screen, or I could compose something on the screen and play it back on my keyboard. I mean, just stuff like that, and layering orchestrations, and I really like that stuff. So my first job, I graduated in 1998 from high school, and my first job was Y2K compliance for Lotus Notes at Emory Healthcare in Atlanta. So that was, we all remember Y2K, and I know I'm going to a cyber camp after this talk today at UCCS, University of Colorado Springs, and I'm going to ask these young people if they remember Y2K. Of course they don't. They were born after Y2K, so it just makes me feel how old I am, right? They don't know what Y2K is, but nothing happened after Y2K, right? Everything is the world kept on ticking. Fast forward to 2001, I joined the U.S. Air Force. My 5th week of basic training was September 11th, so that was a pretty interesting day. In the Air Force, I was a civil engineer doing aircraft arresting systems and power generation. So the job I was in was pretty far removed from computers, but when the world gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So I ended up writing a computer program for my job that revolutionized how they did business. Took them off of paper, made them completely digital. It was endorsed by higher level authorities in the Air Force, and they put it into production. That was a really big honor. Of course, I didn't make any money with it because I did it on government time with government resources, but it was still good to be able to create something using my passion for IT and cyber. I did the honor guard, and I met my beautiful wife in the Air Force, and I got out in 2004 and started to pursue my IT career. Took me to retail, entertainment. As you heard, I was doing work with casinos, got to see some really incredible shows, but doing IT support for casinos, they get fined every minute that they're offline. So it's just a really interesting environment. Has to be up 99.9% of the time. Power utilities was interesting, and then the U.S. Department of Defense doing cyber operations there was probably the most horrifying yet exciting job I've ever had. Getting to see the depth of cyber from a military standpoint. So I'm loving the job. I'm in Tucson, Arizona. My wife is still active duty Air Force, and she gets orders to Key West, Florida. So my job doesn't transfer. I got offered a lot of money from my employer to leave my family. So, that just goes to the mantra of, not all money is good money. So I definitely declined the offer to let my family go to Key West without me. I got on usajobs.gov and looked for an IT job. And I found an IT director for the National Weather Service Weather Forecasting Office in Key West, Florida. It was a GS-13. Never had a GS before. I applied for it and got the job. So I was pretty excited. GS-13 for the very first time. 23 days after they gave me the job, they rescinded the offer. It was one of the government shutdowns that was occurring during President Obama's administration. So the job fell through. I was pretty devastated. And once I get to Key West, the next job offer I had was $11 an hour for their largest newspaper to do about 4 pages worth of responsibilities. And I was like, I just can't do it. So in 2011, I came up with a company name. I incorporated with the state of Florida, and I joined the Key West Chamber of Commerce, and I started my business. And that was 13 years ago, and I haven't looked back. So I was in Key West for 4 years, doing really good. Ran a Caribbean festival for 3 out of the 4 years I was there, called the Goombay Festival, and got involved with Rotary and community, and found out how important community is to running a business. And then my wife gets orders to Colorado Springs, and I'm like, yes, no. As a military spouse, you understand that when your military spouse gets orders, you have to move. You have to uproot everything and start over. So I get to Colorado Springs about 2015 and decide to run my business here as well. And I've been here about 9 years, and it's been great. I don't think I could work for anybody anymore. So in 2024, at the beginning of this year, my business switched from being an MSP, managed service provider, to doing pen testing. And it's been a pretty amazing year so far. And one of the biggest accomplishments of this year, other than changing the business, is being married to my wife for 20 years. So I love you, babe. She's sleeping right now, but she's the love of my life, and I wouldn't be here without her. Just want to make sure I acknowledge my wife. So for the rest of you who have these cyber talks coming up later and you're married, give your spouse some love. How about that? Hashtag spouse love. Okay, let's do that. Because we know we wouldn't be here without them. So there's some key takeaways for this talk today. Understanding the roles and responsibilities of a CISO, developing robust cybersecurity strategy aligned with organizational objective and compliance, developing a framework for incident response planning and execution, and more takeaways. Developing strategy for effective communication with stakeholders, as well as executive management, building and leading a skilled cybersecurity team, understanding the challenges associated with the role of CISO, fostering a culture of security awareness across the organization, a CISO approach to emerging threats, technologies, and continuous education. So let me give you the perspective that I'm going to use to answer these takeaway questions. I have not had a job in 13 years, folks. I've been running my own business, and I earned the certified CISO, the gold standard. I love how they said that in the intro. As a CEO of my own company after I've been in business for 8 years. And I've been able to use the CISO credential and the knowledge for the last 5 years. So that's how long I've had the cert. Just did my re-up on the portal. So if you haven't done your re-up, make sure you go to your portal and put in your CEs so you can keep your certification. So let's talk about these CISO roles and responsibilities. Folks, we are the information security strategists in the organization and the C-suite. And one of the important things, if you don't take anything else away from this, strategy is only as good as your ability to articulate it. And I know you have met people who talk cybersecurity in a way that just goes over your head. And for some of those people, there's a pride and being able to talk over your head. The important part is to be able to communicate these very important topics clearly with people who are not part of our profession. And I think being a CISO makes that even more important. Um, I'm a certified ethical hacker as well, so I love that cert. As a CEH, you're a tech wizard. So congratulations for all of you that have a CEH. And this knowledge will help make you a better CISO. Not only do you have an appreciation for the work involved in implementing your strategies, but you also respect the people who have to do the work. And as a CEH, you understand the capabilities of your threat actors and the expertise of your team to defend you from them. With great power comes great responsibility. And I know this is a Spider-Man quote, but it's true. Knowledge is power. And with that power comes great responsibility. As a business owner, the people I interact with are typically part of a larger community and not part of a particular business, since I don't, have a job. The boards of directors that I serve on, I'm the certified ethical hacker in the CISO in the room, right? When I was president of the Rotary Club of Colorado Springs and president of the Colorado Springs Black Chamber of Commerce and president of one of our local BNI chapters, I approached those roles with the knowledge of a cybersecurity professional. And I was the only one in the room with that kind of knowledge. In many of the rooms I'm in now, I'm the only person with this level of knowledge about cybersecurity. And I'm pretty sure I was the only president of a Chamber of Commerce in Colorado that was a hacker. People trust my knowledge and routinely ask me to share it with people. It's humbling to be a subject matter expert, asked to speak on world stages such as this. So thank you, EC Council, for this opportunity. Last week, I was asked to speak with the Wealth Masters Group at the Africa Caribbean Achievers Forum, where the topic was developing and implementing a clear blueprint for Africa and the Caribbean economic fortune. So I was on the panel as a CISO in CEH, talking about the cyber threat to those plans of economic fortune and how to protect them against those threats. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity from the Wealth Masters Group. Thank you. Empowering people with knowledge is the best defense against the dark arts of cyber criminals. When you know better, you do better. So share your knowledge. Share it simply and effectively so people can tell one other person. For every person you help and educate, that it has an exponential impact on the communities around them. And that's the way we're going to keep a more secure future. Developing robust cyber strategy alignment. You have to ask the right questions. In organizations, there are teams of teams, and the C-suite is just another team on top of another team of your top level leaders in an organization. So it's up to the CISO to ask the right questions to expose security gaps in planning and strategies. So in my world, some of these organizations don't have CISOs. Some of them have, CTOs or CIOs. Some of them have, custom-made C-suite positions where IT and cyber are lumped in to their responsibilities. And there's not a big focus on cybersecurity. Expectations are that nothing is 100% secure, but you don't have to be low-hanging fruit. I think that's probably one of the first things I walk in the door with, so people don't think that they just will never get hacked if a CISO or a CEH or somebody with our level of expertise gets involved in an organization, that they're 100% safe. We've seen some of the biggest companies in the world, not be safe, but you don't have to be low-hanging fruit. We just had I've been checking out in the news, an organization called United Healthcare, $300 billion organization. Didn't have two-factor authentication. Can you believe that? And they got hacked. So 1/3 of the US population was caught up in that cyber attack. So it's things like that. If you have a $300 billion organization doing that, and they've got a C-suite, and they've got IT teams and cyber teams, and they're making those mistakes, what do you think is happening to companies that make less than $300 billion a year? It's pretty incredible what I see on my day-to-day. Delegate and follow up. Again, this job as a CISO is not intended to do the technical work, but your job is to build a team to execute the plan, and for you as a CISO to follow up and make sure that it's getting done. One of the sayings we have is that you are the throat to choke at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that everything is in place and working correctly. So you can keep yourself safe and keep the organization that you're responsible of safe. So let's see, develop framework for incident response. So be proactive so we don't have an incident. The example I just gave about the 2FA, there's nothing proactive about not having 2FA. You should already have that already. But questions like, do you have backups? How do you know? Have you asked your IT director and they told you that you had your backups? Who verified that? The CISO. I'm not saying not to trust your IT directors or cyber directors. I'm just asking you to trust, but verify. Let me tell you a story. So I just came back from a trip from another city here in the US, incident response issue. It was a healthcare organization with 50 locations in a geographical region, and they got hit with ransomware. And they don't have a CISO anywhere in their organization. They have an IT director, and that's the top job right there. So their IT director had just got married and was on his honeymoon when the ransomware attack happened. To give you some context, the CEO of this company had asked their IT director, hey, how are our backups? And he said, it's great, boss, no problem. So the CEO took him at his word. There's nobody else to check to see if they were being done. He asked him, he's like, hey, I know we got some old computers on our network. Are they being removed and replaced with better machines, upgraded computers? He's like, yeah, boss, everything's great. We're working on that, no problem. So once we respond to the cyber attack, we find out that they had no backups. They had no backups. CEO didn't know. He trusted his IT director. And there was nobody in place to check. They had Windows 8 computers on the network, and we all know when the end of life for that was. They had Windows 7 computers on the network. We all know when the end of life for that was. They had computers, and mind you, this is a healthcare company where the password to log in was 12345. Yes, that's for real. So if you're an organization that's listening to this cyber talk right now, go check and make sure you don't have passwords on your network like 12345. How do you check? You get a pen test, but we'll get to that in a minute. Don't recreate the wheel. We all know what the procedure is for incident response. Follow that framework. Get yourself a recall roster so you know who to call, and have that person call the next person and the next person and the next person in the chain. And then whoever the last person is, you call that first person. You close that loop and make sure that everybody is updated on what's going on and how to get this stuff resolved. Typically in a cyber attack, your first two calls are your lawyer and your insurance. And then you call me, unless your insurance has a plan to send people out to help you. I'd love to help be a part of that incident response for you. Effective communication with stakeholders and execs. Again, strategy is only as good as your ability to articulate it. You have to break down this complex topic for people that know how to turn their computer on and do what they're supposed to do, and like that's it. Anything else outside of that, they're completely lost. For me, my IT career started in help desk, and I think that's like a basic training that all IT people should start with, because that humbles you when you have a C-suite executive curse you out because they deleted Windows, but they actually just deleted a Word document off their desktop. They don't know. So you have to be able to calm the situation, maintain control, fix the issue, and the client walk away happy. As a CISO, you have to be a master of that, because those flare-ups happen all over the place, and you are the person that's supposed to have the answers for them. Let people know around you that they're not dumb. I've talked to people who have, master's degrees, PhDs, and other professions, and they'll say, "Oh, Rodney, I'm so dumb. I don't know this." Or they're CEOs of like multi-million-dollar companies, like, "Oh, I'm so dumb. I don't understand how this works." And I'm the one to tell them, like, dude, you are not dumb. You know what you know, and you're a master of your profession. I'm a master of mine. So together, we make this work and we'll figure this out together. So I just keep repeating that with a lot of the C-suite people that I talk to on a regular basis. Always leave room for questions. We don't have all the answers as CISOs, and that's okay. I don't usually say I don't know. I'll say, that's a great question. Let me get back to you on that. Because people trust us. And when people lose trust, that's a problem. We can't get anything done when they lose trust in us. So we have to keep the trust and be positive and have the heart of a teacher. We're always in teaching mode, always in teaching mode. Because the more that your team, especially your C-suite team, understands the culture and the plans and the strategy around cyber, the more secure your organization will be, because they're all on the same page and they understand. They may not understand it to the depth that you do as a CISO, but they understand. And that's the important piece to keep your organization safe. So build and lead a skilled cyber team. Get your team the resources to do their job. Now, I know that money may be a problem in some of your organizations, but if your fellow C-suite executives are part of the problem, at some point, you have to decide whether it's worth you staying at a particular place and lending your expertise to people that don't want to listen to you. You don't have to do that. You can find another position somewhere else, find that first, and then you can leave. I've had clients that I fired before. I've studied this profession for over 25 years. So for somebody who hasn't studied it to tell me that they know more than I do about it, I know it's probably not a good fit, because you're not going to listen to me. And if a cyber attack happens, because I gave you wise counsel and you didn't listen to me, who are they going to blame? They're going to blame me. So at the end of the day, I don't have time for that. So I'd rather go find something else to do than to deal with a room full of idiots. I hate to say that, but I have to be real with you. So get your team the resources to do their job. Invest in your team's education. There was a cyber attack on a company called DaVita Healthcare here in Colorado. I think it's about 64,000 records were compromised. So I go looking through DaVita, and then through that on LinkedIn, I start looking at other companies around the country at their IT director roles and their CTO roles. And a lot of them, well, some of them have like maybe an associate's degree and no certs, or they have no certs, or it's somebody who's been in retail their whole career, did IT technician work for 2 years, and now they're the IT director for a large organization. That's unfair for that person in that tech role. While they will take it and take that money and benefit their family and themselves with that new opportunity, it is your job in the C-suite to make sure that these people have their education. Get them certified ethical hacker, okay? Get them CISO. I mean, you can go to EC Council site right now and look at all that list of certs. I just looked at it before this talk. CEH and CISO are like the top 2, but there's so many. Help them get those certs. Help them get their degree. The smarter they are and the more knowledgeable they are, the better they are at protecting your organization. Some of you are not investing. Some of you that are listening to this talk right now are not investing in that knowledge for your team. You have to do that. Send your top performers to conferences. I know over here in Las Vegas, we have DEF CON and Black Hat coming up. CES is also another really cool conference, just a bunch of tech stuff everywhere. Just send them to the conferences, give them a chance to see the broader world that they're working in. Don't be afraid to lose your team members to better opportunities. I've known some in the C-suite who say, Rodney, if I train them and I give them all this knowledge, they'll leave. They might leave. It's okay. Be okay if they leave. I've been in business 13 years. And I've had employees that have found opportunities that they can't refuse. And it's great. And they apologize to me. It's like, oh, boss, I'm sorry. I found this opportunity and, but you've been great to work with. I'm like, man, go. It's okay. I'm proud of you. I'm glad working for me and my investment in your knowledge gave you a resume that's so great that another company called and picked you up. That's great. That's great. When you get new people in, invest in them. Keep investing in them. Don't be afraid of losing that talent, because you invested in them. Because if you don't invest in them, you're putting yourself at risk. And we all know in the CISO, we have a whole domain about risk, and your people can be a huge risk if you don't train them. Encourage ideas. I love the gold standard. I'm gonna keep referring to that. The gold standard as a CISO, but we don't know everything. So if you have people in your space that come up with new ideas, encourage those ideas. Some people are quiet and they're introverted, but they're geniuses. To try to get them to come out and explain the ideas that they have in their head. It may blow you away. Participate in team building and morale building. Do an escape room. Go to a esports event. Go to a concert. Take your team with you. Help them feel good, because this work is stressful. It's unappreciated by people who are not part of this profession. And I know those of you that have been a long time have felt unappreciated being the cyber expert, being the IT expert. So it weighs on you after a while. You have to find ways to uplift yourself. So when you are in charge in a leadership position and you have a team that you're responsible for, help uplift them and keep them encouraged, and then they'll do better work for you. Be flexible with life, especially with women in the field. So I know I have a worldwide audience here, and the way women are treated is different depending on where you are in the world. I know here I've experienced, ladies who get pregnant, and their boss is not very flexible with them because of that. And women have to deal with that as part of their careers, whether they want to have a family or not. Some of them choose not to have a family just so they can focus on their career, and that's not fair. If they want to have a family, they should be able to have one. We're in a world where you can work remote. Especially in this career field, you can work remote. I'm seeing cyber jobs on LinkedIn for $400,000 a year, 100% remote. So be flexible, give people a chance to go see their families. If they have an emergency, if they have a trip that they're trying to take, let them go take it. Because the morale of your team is important. If they're feeling burdened and overwhelmed and not supported, they're not going to function well for you. And you also run the risk for them to maybe do something harmful to your organization because they're feeling mistreated, and you don't want that. Recognition, recognize them for their hard work, take care of them, put them in for an award. If you don't have an award at your job, create an award. Go to the trophy shop and get them a trophy. Put a wall up of best tech of the year, tech of the quarter, tech of the week. If they do something above and beyond, give them recognition for that. But recognition always makes people feel good. So the whole point of this slide is to make your team feel good. Okay. Yes, it is your job to make them feel good, and educate them so that they're powerful assets to your team to keep your organization safe. Understand challenges associated with the role of CISO. Be ready to speak up. There's times when people will be going back and forth, and you'll have to interject as the subject matter expert in cyber in the room. I'm gonna give you an example. So there's a healthcare organization out there in the world that's running cybersecurity software that puts them at risk, that may be owned by a company that is putting them at risk, and they don't know it. But you know it because you've seen the US CERT warnings. You've seen the threat intel that this particular software is bad, but they don't know it, but you know it. So it's up to you to speak up, show them the proof, and be like, hey, we have to get this off of our computers yesterday, so we don't get breached in the future. You have to speak up, be ready for presentations. I'm presenting today. When I was working for a Department of Defense, I had to brief, generals on the status of cybersecurity in certain regions in the United States. You have to be ready to talk. Set the expectation that nothing's 100% secure. Like I said before, know when you need to leave the organization. Sometimes these organizations are toxic. Sometimes they don't want to listen to you. Sometimes they'd rather be at risk than do the right thing. I've got an organization now, multi-million-dollar organization. They have hundreds of different locations throughout our state of Colorado, and they have one IT person, one. For a multi-million-dollar organization with multiple, like over 100 sites across the state, one IT person. And guess what? This person's not trained. They're not investing in this person's knowledge. So, when I ask them about supporting them or getting them a pen test just to be able to help their single IT person see some gaps, they're like, we're okay, we're fine. Some people have to find out the hard way. And it's not until they get breached and their organization suffers and their clients and their supply chain around them suffers that they learn their lesson. Don't be a reactive person. Be proactive. Understand people as a challenge. You may have C-suite people that don't see eye to eye with you, or they may feel intimidated by your knowledge, or they have egos that don't gel well with getting the mission done. You are a hacker, okay, at the end of the day, and hacking is about people, right? So find a way to reach them. Find another solution to get what you need from this conversation or to get your mission done. If you've tried a whole bunch of different ways and it doesn't work, again, like maybe it's not a good fit. And I've used that term several times in the last 13 years of being a business owner. It's just not a good fit. You can take that one and write that one down if it doesn't work. There's a book out there called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Again, this role of a CISO is about people. And if you need help and some ideas on how to influence people, this book is really, really good. I definitely encourage you to take a look at that. Foster a culture of security awareness. At your all-staff meetings, your board meetings, your company retreats, you should be talking about cyber. I don't know, make it a game, make it fun, make it something that people want to engage in. I know that many of you may be working in companies where you have your annual cybersecurity training and it's a bunch of slides and people just next, finish. And they get their automated certificate and didn't learn a darn thing, didn't learn nothing. But your metrics that you're tracking, you got 98% of your company did the IT training, so you think it's all good. And then Microsoft calls your office and your employee who passed your training gives them remote access to the computer, and then your company gets hacked. Find more creative ways to train your people. Let's talk about it. Bring people up on stage to talk about it. Talk about real world things that are happening. If there's breaches, I know that companies, like I said, you have to call your lawyer and you keep the information about your breach secret and quiet, and you don't tell anyone. But if you're in a position where you can share your story with other organizations, or let's say you're at another C-suite level event and you've got other folks in your profession, share those stories, share what happened, share that threat, share that exploit that got you in trouble, that messed up your organization, so that people can learn from it. Because if we share that information, that threat intelligence sharing, we keep each other safe. Hang up signs in the office to always keep people in security awareness mode. I'm a big Marvel nerd. So the Loki season 1, there's posters all over the TVA. I know I might be speaking different languages, some of you, if you're not a Marvel fan, but as far as company culture, I like how they designed the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. It's a really good show. You should go check it out. But they've got signs all over the building, making sure people stay inside the culture. So create signage, make it interesting, be creative. Like it's okay to be creative. You don't have to be dry in this job. Be creative, put the signs up like, hey, did you change passwords? Did you know your passwords have to be this? Don't buy the gift cards. If anybody calls you or sends you an email about gift cards, don't do it. If anybody sends you anything about money, don't pay it. Make a phone call to the person first before you pay out any money. Don't wire any money. Don't do anything that has urgent matters in it. Like we all know the phishing attacks and how that's a big way that these criminals are getting into your organizations with the phishing. So have that information up around your office so people pass it. I'm sure you've gone to, restaurants and stuff where you go to the restroom and there's a sign saying right there in the bathroom, keeping you on task at all times. And then have consequences for repeat offenders. If you got somebody that's always clicking that phishing email in your test scenarios and they're not learning, pull them aside. Be like, hey man, if you keep doing this, I might have to let you go. I need you to learn this because you are putting this entire organization at risk by not learning how to keep us safe. So, it's okay. Just don't let anything bad happen to you. You have to take control of that situation. Approach to emerging threats, technologies, and education. Track the latest threats. I have a lot of different ways of tracking it. The Hacker News, I like that one. There's US CERT, I like that one. The US Department of Health and Human Services, they have a running list of healthcare organizations that have been hacked and what the exploit was. If it was a network server, it was an email compromise, all those things. There's organizations in your communities that share threat intel. There's ISACs, for your particular industry. Get connected with those so you can, the knowledge is power. Just make sure you understand what's happening out here in the field. I watch a lot of Bloomberg on my television when I'm working in my home office during the day. So I get a lot of, there's threat intel that comes through that sometimes. But you want to stay abreast to the threat so you know how to protect yourself. Work hard and share and receive knowledge. Knowledge sharing is important. Attend conferences and create a conference in your community. So, Black Hat takes up all of Las Vegas. It's a huge conference. But maybe there's something smaller that you can do in your community. Maybe you have a local SBDC, that's a small business development center. We have one here in Colorado Springs, and they're all across the U.S. For all the U.S.-based folks on the call, get in touch with your chambers of commerce. Offer yourself as a speaker for an organization. There's an organization here called the Rocky Mountain Builders Association. So this is all the construction companies and their supply chain. I've been asked to speak in September to them. I'll be the only IT person in the room, right? I'm the only certified ethical hacker, the only CISO in the room. So I'm going to give them some knowledge that they don't have and hopefully help them make some better decisions so that they can protect their business and protect our community. So like I said, be ready to present, put yourself out there to help save these people. Normalize the conversation about cybersecurity. If you have yourself an old fashioned or a margarita, ask your friend. It's okay. You don't need a segue to go into it. It's like, hey, bud, when's the last time you changed your password? I don't know. 3 years ago? All your passwords the same? Yeah, pretty much. Okay, well, let's talk about that. You should probably not have that. That's okay. It's not a downer conversation. Make it fun, make it interesting, but just plant that knowledge in their head so they go back and do something better. And then last but not least, excuse me, get a pen test. What's a pen test? Penetration test. If you don't have an organization that you're partnering with already doing this, happy to help. But it's when you run a cyber attack on your business, on your company, to expose your gaps before the bad guys come in and do it to you. And they're not going to give you a set of reports. They're not going to give you a set of recommendations to fix your issue. They're just going to take your stuff. And they don't care if wrecking your organization kills people or people go hungry or people can't pay their bills. They don't care. Financial gain is the name of the game right now. Nation states are part of the actors, but organized crime is the biggest actor in this space. And if you've been studying it, you read the Verizon data breach report for 2024 and some of the other reports out there, you're seeing the rate of cybercrime. This is going to be a record year. Every year is a record year. So if you want to be proactive and stay ahead of it and help your team, get a pen test. This is not, as a CISO, you know that you cannot pen test yourself. You can try, but this is an external audit kind of thing. You have to get an external organization to do this. Somebody that's objective, because we have a saying, it's the fox watching the hen house. Just like that example with the IT director telling the CEO that the backups were good. Sure, you're asking the person who's responsible for it if it's good. Trust but verify, right? The pen test is your trust but verify. You get that done, you will save yourself a world of hurt. If you've been using the same company for pen testing for years and you're getting the same results, which are like, everything's kind of clean, maybe it's time for you to switch to a different type of pen test provider so you get a different set of eyes on it, a different type of pen test done. Depending on the level of business that you're at, if you're one of the multi-million, billion-dollar companies, your pen tests look different than a company who makes a little less revenue, but still has an IT department or outsourced IT. So as a CISO, like you really need to make sure that the organizations that you're protecting understand the importance of the pen test, because I'm seeing a lot of organizations that either haven't heard of it or they've done it years ago and haven't done it since. So this is a really easy one to get right. Get it right. When you know better, you do better. And my name is Rodney Gullatte, and I am proud to have been part of this Cyber Talks event today. That's it for me. Do you have any questions?
Thank you very much, Rodney, for delivering such
Thank
an
you.
insightful Yes, for delivering such an insightful and informative session. We found the webinar very engaging and hope it was valuable for you as well. The feedback from our audience has been extremely overwhelmingly positive. They loved your
Great.
talk and are requesting for more sessions with you.
Oh, thanks. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Surely. So
Yeah.
before we begin with the Q&A, I would like to inform all the attendees that this session is in sync with EC Council CISO program. EC Council Certified Chief Information Security Officer certification is an executive level program that teaches information security concepts from a management and leadership perspective. It
Mhm.
covers all the components required to succeed in a C-level cybersecurity position, including audit management, governance, information controls, human capital management, strategic program development, and financial expertise. There are over 6,000 CISO job vacancies, and an experienced certified CISO professional in US can earn between 2 lakh to $260,000 per annum. If you're interested in learning more, please participate in the poll being conducted now. Let us know your preferred training mode and we will reach out to you soon.
And you can also look me up on LinkedIn, folks. I'm in there. So please send me a connection request. Love to talk to you.
So, Rodney, should we proceed with Q&A?
Sounds like a great idea.
Thank you. So, our first question for you is, how can aspiring cybersecurity professionals advance their careers to reach the CISO level?
So get more certs. You know, I'm gonna champion the EC Council certs all day long. But if you are aspiring, I don't know where you're at right now, but A plus, Net plus, Security plus are good places to start. And then take yourself into certified ethical hacker. That's a tricky exam, and make sure you study hard, study often, study with friends. Don't wait for people to help you study. You have to take this on for yourself when you are in your job, and you have your particular task that you're assigned to do that job well. And then when you start to have some free time because you're so good at your job, go around your office and find out who else is there. What other kind of jobs are out there? What other things are people doing? What kind of projects can you get your hand in? Like, try to see how you can help your organization outside of what you've been assigned to do. After you've been very good at what you've been assigned to do, get your degree. Find yourself a CISO. Like, find a mentor who is at the level that you want to be at, and talk to them. Go to lunch with them. Go get some coffee with them. Ask them the same question you asked me. What does an aspiring cybersecurity engineer have to do to get to the CISO level? And you'll get those answers, and act accordingly. The path is doable. You can do it. I believe in you. Keep working hard. You can do it.
Thank you for the motivation and your answer, Rodney.
Yes.
Our next question for you is, I am a graduate of Bachelor of Business and Information Technology and want to do Masters in Cybersecurity. Do I need to specialize in any programming language before starting cybersecurity?
So the answer is no. And I'm starting my master's next month in cybersecurity. So congratulations on doing your master's. Continuing education is always important. You're always a student. You never stop. Get as many certifications as you can. Get all the EC Council certs. Get them all, right? Keep working for your degree. Keep seeking new things to do in your job. Continue education. Just keep on going. My bachelor's degree is computer science, so that's a programming degree. Just understand that as a cybersecurity professional, as an ethical hacker, the more that you know about the field, the more effective of a hacker you can be. So, let's talk about like the Mac, right? So the M1 and the M2 chips have a hardware issue where cryptographic keys can be extracted from the chips. If you guys haven't seen that, you should look that up. But that's A+ kind of stuff, right? That's hardware stuff. If you learn about computer programming, sure, that can help. It's not necessary, but it does help. It helped me because I don't like programming, but when I'm using Linux to do stuff, like it's easy for me to code, right? It's easy for me to type those commands and memorize them. Math is really good. If you've taken calculus, object-oriented programming, it changes the way you think about solving problems because you're not dealing with like linear equations anymore. You're dealing with groups of things when you're doing object-oriented programming, when you're doing calculus, and you're just taking groups and you're shifting it to make new groups, or taking a piece of a group and adding it to another group and making a new group. So when you're able to think in an object-oriented mind frame, you solve amazing problems. And if you use that as a CISO, your impact is explosive. If you use that in your community, right, your community impact is explosive. And that's all because you're a cybersecurity engineer. It doesn't always have to do with computers. Like I said, this is all about people. So, if you like to take a programming route, go ahead. It won't hurt you. It'll only help you. All the knowledge you gain in this career will only help you be a better CISO. Hope that answers your question. And good luck on your master's.
Thank you, Rodney, for answering
welcome.
that. Our next question to you is, can you tell us more about the roadmap of CEH and CCSO?
So a lot of that is laid out in the EC Council website when you look up CEH and CCSO. The biggest differentiators are the CEH is a technical certification. So you're the hacker. Ethical, it's a key word, but you're the hacker, right? You're learning the exploits. You're learning the framework for running cyber attacks and escalating privileges and leaving establishing a footprint and covering your tracks and all those things. Like you learn that in the CEH. Now as a CISO, you're a manager now, so you're not running cyber attacks now. You're not doing that technical work now. You are leading teams now. Your job is to talk. Your job is to write policies, create strategies. And as a CEH, what I like about it is having all these technical certs leading up to CISO. I have an appreciation for the technical work. I understand the technical pieces of getting my job done. And if I'm leading a team of certified ethical hackers, right, I know what they need. I know what they're working on. I know how they work. I understand the culture because I've been a technician for most of my career. So I'm able to help lead that team. And as a CISO, I'm able to be a bridge between that technical world and the executive level world that doesn't understand what AES encryption is, right? They don't know what asymmetric encryption is, right? They don't know what drive encryption is. They don't even know what encryption is. But as a CISO and as a technical person with a background, like you understand what kind of work that involves. So as a CISO, you take that complicated topic and you simplify it. And you become a master at simplifying technical conversations and topics so that people can understand it. It's easy to digest. I think that's probably your most important role as a CISO. is being able to take that technical information and make it easy for people to understand so they can follow your lead and you can build strategies that work for your organization. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you for answering that. I'll take the last question. When did you know to transition to the CISO?
I'm always on a path for higher learning. I want to get more. I just want more knowledge, because I have a personal goal to be the best. My parents raised me knowing that, like, dude, you just have to be. You have to keep striving to be the best. You can't be. You just have to be better. And I want to have the biggest impact on this world as I can. So the more knowledge I can get, the better. I found out about the CISO from my friend, Dr. Sean Murray. He's a part of your international training team. And he taught the class for CISO. I was scared of it because like it's expensive. Like as these certs get bigger, the price to take the exams get bigger. And for those of you that have done certifications throughout your career, and failed some, you don't get your money back when you fail it. You have to pay it again and take the test again. So you're highly motivated, especially for CISO, to study hard and pass that thing the first time. I passed CAH the first time. I passed CISO the first time. And that might not be everybody's experience. What I would say to you is don't give up. The next cert that I was looking at, there's a forensic one and a pen test one that EC Council has. I'm looking at those two next. Do I already know how to do pen testing? Yes, sure, I do. Do I have experience with it? Yes, but I want the cert. I want the credential. And the credentials help me be an authority when I walk into a room and they list off those credentials. It makes people be quiet. It's like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, yes, I do. I need you to be quiet and listen because I'm about to tell you something that's important. So listen to me and I'll help you and you'll do better. I want to learn Spanish. My wife is from Puerto Rico and I want to be able to talk to her and speak the language of the people so that I can connect with them and see what other opportunities and impact I can make if I can speak the language of different people. So, the master's degree is part of my next piece of education, learning Spanish, getting those other two EC Council certs. I just want to continue my education because the threat is constantly evolving. We've got AI in the mix now, and I'm sure all of you who are cybersecurity professionals on this call have seen how AI has changed the landscape. And don't get me started on quantum. Okay, that's going to change things even more. Hopefully, I'm out of the game by then, because that's going to be a whole new world for us. But in order for me to protect the people that are counting on me, that are trusting me, I have to have this knowledge and be the best. So that's, CISO is just one of the paths to doing it.
Thank you, Rodney. Thank you so much once again to our wonderful speaker, Rodney, for answering those questions and for the
Thank
great
you.
presentation and the knowledge shared with our global audience.
Thank you for the
It was
opportunity.
a pleasure to have you with us, and we are looking for more and more sessions with you, Rodney.
Can't wait.
Before we conclude the webinar, Rodney, would you like to give a small message to our audience?
Stay positive. This is, even if you love this profession, it can be hard sometimes. Don't quit. Don't give up. Lean into your friends. Look up the other people who have done these cyber talks and send them a message on LinkedIn. And just stay connected. This is a great network that EC Council is building with us. If you end up becoming part of the Hall of Fame for any of the EC Council stuff, look up the other people who are in the Hall of Fame and send them LinkedIn requests. Like, this is build your community, build your network. And the pen testing is super important. So if you're not doing it, do it. I'd love to help you. I'm on LinkedIn, so find me on there. Take a picture of this screen and send me a message. And we can do those anywhere in the world. I mean, it just really helps expose those gaps before bad things happen. If you think you can't afford it, you may be wrong. You surprise yourself that you can. So get your pen tests, change your passwords, protect your friends, and keep seeking knowledge and stay positive. And we're going to win this fight. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rodney.